Welcome back to the sheer carnage and absolute trauma that is Super Empire Strikes Back. Anyway, so we were talking about how EA is evil.
EA is evil.
Dun 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 dun.
No, again, I protest. I protest to John Williams' magnificent scores being used for a shitty company like EA. EA does not deserve it.
No, John Williams doesn't deserve it. EA deserves it. John Williams doesn't deserve it because he actually worked hard on that thing. Unlike EA, bazinga. This is EA's equivalent of hard work. Slap some microtransactions on it, it'll work just fine. So I guess we should probably address this because as of right now, it is a thing.
It is a thing.
So I'm guessing that because on the podcast you're usually the one that finds these petitions, you've seen the latest petition to have Disney remove the rights to the Star Wars license from EA.
Wow, it's almost like I've been saying this for the last 4 years, but I was the crazy one back then.
I know, right? You were the tinfoil hat guy.
It's just like...
Well, but you'll remember, we all said, that's a great idea. You're never going to get it, though.
Yeah, because, Disney said, the kids are all talking about these EA folks. Let's get them to do the games.
Yeah, exactly. They've got an operation, don't they? Yeah, they do. It's a crappy operation, as you're finding out right now, and as 2 countries have deemed illegal, so you can't sell anything in those countries.
Technically, no one's deemed it illegal. It's still...
Belgium and one other country have deemed it gambling.
Belgium did not. That was a
Oh, was it a mislead?
Yeah, it was a mislead. It was a mistranslation because somebody, used Google Translate. Pro tip, don't use Google Translate.
I did not know that part.
So Belgium, it's more of a minister within the Belgian government that's pressing for it, but it's not official yet.
Yeah.
And Hawaii is looking into it. I don't think they've committed to any action
I don't
yet.
care what Hawaii does, honestly. Hawaii, as I've learned in the last couple of months, nothing against it. It's a great state and it's got wonderful scenery, but you got a bunch of crackpots living there.
Well,
I would actually dare say it's worse than California.
Have you went to Hawaii?
No.
Then how could you say?
I've been seeing a lot of videos on Hawaii, and oh man, I thought California was the worst state in the union. No, Hawaii very much is.
Stage clear.
I'm thoroughly convinced 90% of the SJW population lives in Hawaii.
No, they live in California.
That too. All right, so...
Hawaii's too expensive for SJWs.
It actually kind of is. But give it time, I mean, California, we all thought it was going to have really expensive property until the sexual harassment scandals, and frankly, I think that beachfront property is going to go down in price because California is going to be begging people to move out there, to buy their $10 milk. Or how much was it? It was like, last time I heard a price was like $5 for milk. $5. Anyway. Sorry, people who live in California, but, I love you guys. I don't have to live in your state, and I will never live in your state, so if you take that as offense, then I don't know what to say.
It's the probe droids.
Right. Something in the system. Or rebels in the system. That's what they said. Rebels in the system. Oh, and speaking of Imperial droids, yes, an Imperial probe droid is a boss.
That's awesome.
This is Super Star Wars. Did you expect anything else?
No.
No, it had to be an Imperial probe droid.
It's a video game. You gotta make up stuff.
Well, but you also need to have bigger versions of these bosses so that you can have that awesome moment.
It's like the Japanese Famicom Star Wars that randomly had Darth Vader turn into a scorpion for reasons.
Yes.
Because it's a video game, why not?
And actually, you just reminded me of a correction I need to make from Super Star Wars. So, I actually did say it wrong. The JVC, or the Japanese Star Wars games, did not come out around the same time as Super Star Wars. They were re-released around those times.
Oh, cool.
So they had come out since then, but we got snazzy new cartridges in that. But yes, you just reminded everybody that yes, Darth Vader can in fact turn into a scorpion. We didn't know this in the original trilogy, and nobody told us. But yes, it's confirmed canon.
Next special edition update.
He could turn into a scorpion?
Yes, there's literally an NES Star Wars game where I think you
Famicom.
have 3 or 4 encounters within it that are Darth Vader, and the first time you hit him, he becomes a scorpion.
Really?
Yes.
It's so random. It's
Oh, and by the way, speaking of another Imperial probe droid, we just faced the baby. Now we face Mama. Yep. This is another. So we just barely got off the first probe droid fight. Now we're having another one. And this is supposed to be the one that, you know, tried to kill Han and Luke. Because it's bigger. That's the way it works,
bigger,
right?
it's badder. You're gonna die.
Yes, I probably will. I'm glad that you illuminated everybody to that because, you know, it's Super Empire Strikes Back. You will die.
There we go.
It's like Dark Souls. We should have Super Empire Strikes Back Prepare to Die edition.
Question of the day, what's harder, Empire Strikes Back or Dark Souls?
Don't make me choose. Both make me cringe with post-traumatic stress, so I don't know if I even want to make the comparison. And the worst part about this fight, too, is that it's actually 2 fades. So you take this guy out, and then you have to take him down from half health again. Because he has new features.
I bet you wish you'd be playing Mega Man.
Mega Man.
I basically am. This is Contra Mega Man-esque standards. It is a shmup. Oh no! Now he's a rocket droid. He's basically the equivalent of, well, a non-ball BB-8. If you want to call it that.
R2-D2 with the jet boosters.
Yeah! Beat him. Only took like
Stage clear.
20 attempts on the actual camera.
Dun, 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 dun,
But I'm not
dun.
gonna subject you guys. Echo Station 3TA! We have spotted Imperial walkers. We've got to hold them until all the transports are away. Their primary target will be their power generators. All available pilots to their snow speeders. And this is probably the first launch that we ever saw of Luke Skywalker's famous Rogue Squadron. Even though that they had been operating for a good couple of years before this, according to Expanded Universe canon.
Which is no longer canon.
Even then, I'm not sure. Because some stuff has actually gotten the canon dealing later on. So I don't even know anymore.
They shouldn't have wiped away the entire
They really
EU.
shouldn't have! And in fact, they've borrowed from it too, because I think Rebels, the TV series, is canon, and they brought in one of those popular Expanded Universe characters as a villain.
Which one?
Admiral Thrawn.
Oh,
Grand Admiral
yeah.
Thrawn is actually from Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire series. That's when he was first introduced, and actually, Thrawn is why, like in games like the Old Republic, why you can play a Chiss.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think he was the first ever Chiss that was ever shown. For those who don't know what a Chiss is, I'm blue dabba dee dabba die. That's blue people with red eyes. Because that looks evil, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Right.
that'd give you nightmares. So right now we're in Echo Base. We're gonna go and get Luke's speeder so that he can go and take care of the incoming walkers. But while we're doing that, I actually do want to tackle one quick question that you guys have been asking for a while now, and we just haven't addressed, and it's partially because I wanted to wait until another Star Wars game came up. So a while back, we had a bunch of Star Wars games that were on the list, but then we kind of deemed that we couldn't do them for one reason or another. In particular, Dark Forces is the one that gets brought up a lot. If you actually were able to do these, like a way it was presented for us to be able to play the games, would we put them back on the table?
I would say so.
Yes, in fact, you and I have had talks about putting Dark Forces back on the table because now, I mean, the main reason we couldn't record it back when we talked about it was the console version wasn't all that great. Like the PS3 port that you got was kind of crappy. But now that we have a way to be able to record PC, it's entirely possible for us to take on the Dark Forces series again. Except now we'll be playing on the PC version, which is the superior version of a Doom clone. So feel free to leave your suggestions, guys, and we'll see what we can get to. But the other problem too is getting a copy, because not everything made Steam. I know for a fact that some of the stuff made it, but there also will be some Star Wars games we're just not gonna take on. It's just not gonna happen. No Phantom Menace. No. We will not
Star
have
Wars Pod Racer.
We'll have to talk about that one. But, like, the original Phantom Menace game that came out, no. Probably not any of the prequel movie games.
I remember playing a Clone Wars game that was pretty decent.
Revenge of the Sith was kind of cool, but again, you can destroy the speeder. You can make it so you can't complete the level.
Oh, great.
Because you have to step in the speeder to complete it. Fun fact, everybody. The more you know.
I had a Clone Wars game on GameCube, and I thought it was pretty good. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, but it's not an episode 2. It's just Clone Wars.
Yeah, but still.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
So here's another fun fact for you, Alex. This looks kind of familiar, right? Because we did this on the speeder on Super Star Wars. But the way that it works might look also familiar to you from a certain N64 game we've played.
Yeah, that's a little proto Shadows of the Empire here.
This is actually the inspiration for the Hoth level in Shadows. Because you have to take out the probes first and then eventually graduate to the ATSTs. This format is actually the inspiration. In fact, a lot of the Hoth levels from Super Empire later inspired the PC and N64 versions of Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, yes.
Specifically the Hoth levels. So that's another cool thing that did happen. And somebody actually did ask us if we would ever take on the PC version of Shadows. I don't even know where you go to get it.
Yeah.
Because I looked up on Steam, I couldn't find it.
Shadows of the Empire?
Yes,
Yeah.
but it has like full-on CG cutscenes.
And
I would
voice
say, wouldn't
acting.
it be the same gameplay, sort of?
Mostly, yeah.
For the most part, but the difference is that you get full-on CG cutscenes.
And voice acting.
Voice acting, yeah. But last time I checked on Steam, no, it's not available.
Yeah, and there's no way we could get it to run, so...
Did you watch it?
Well, I mean, if it was on Steam, then you can guarantee that they would put it on like DOSBox or something and it would run.
Yeah.
But again, it has to be on Steam for that. I'm sorry, what?
Wouldn't you, couldn't you, I don't know, have you guys ever watched it, like, on YouTube or something, of somebody playing it?
I've seen the cutscenes.
Yeah, I've seen clips of it.
And they're corny. I mean, they're just as corny as the N64 cutscenes. And the N64 cutscenes are like Super Star Wars to me. So it's easily something you could, if you want it, you can have it, but you don't need it, kind of thing. So now we're on to the ATSTs.
Bum, bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
But yeah, a whole bunch of new Star Wars games can actually be added into it, and you'll be happy about this one, Alex. Somebody did actually ask for a playthrough of the campaign mode in Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original one, 2005 one. So we could technically do that. Is it that long?
It's not very long.
It's like, because I know it follows the 501st Legion, which is a precursor to the 501st in Clone Wars. So you could do that, but I don't think it's that long.
No, it's not very long. It's like a couple hours at most.
So maybe this would be something that we take on like in a holiday or something and just bust through it.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
Very battle fist.
What was that?
Just imitating one of the cutscenes. It's like, with the fighting battle fist.
Yes.
We fought alongside Darth Vader and for the Emperor.
But yeah, we'll be taking on a bunch more Star Wars games. I just really wish that some of those games we could fit a little bit more neatly into a 1-month basket and then just put them in when a movie is about to release. But unlike these games, you know, a lot of the ones that we want to do, like Dark Forces, are longer and not easy to do. So we'll take them on, but we have other things in the meantime that we want to take on too. Because, you know, we do other stuff other than Star Wars. I know that that's hard to believe, but we do. We do these things called .hack and Phantasy Star, which also occurred on Hoth, by the way. That's canon, according to us.
There was Hoth and there was Tatooine.
There was Hoth, there was Tatooine, and I think did we name the green one Endor?
No, we never did
I think we
that.
called it Yavin.
We never did that.
I remember we said like, okay, so which one is this one? Is this Yavin? Or is this Endor? And we did come up with like some names, but I can't remember what we settled on. Although somebody actually did correct us because technically the desert planets in between those are not the same. So one should be Tatooine and the other one should be Jakku.
Well, this was before Jakku.
This was before Jakku existed, people.
Yeah.
And on top of that, well, I would dare, you know, you bring up Tatooine and Jakku, and you say tomato, I say tomato. You know, because they're both the same thing.
They're both desert planets.
I don't care what Battlefront 2 did to give us lore to the Battle of Jakku. Jakku is Tatooine, but not Tatooine.
Tatooine Light.
It's yet another desert planet in the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
Which have you begun to notice that in the Star Wars universe, it's not in any short supply of desert planets? Can we have more Takadans and Endors and Yavin 4s, please?
But more Sullust, more Mustafar.
Mustafar's Mustafar to me. It's like,
the planet
do I need more Hoths? No. I know that there are other snowy planets, but wow, Star Wars loves going to desert planets.
Yeah, too much.
With multiple suns, by the way. I forgot to add in that part. Desert planets with multiple suns.
I don't think Jakku had the 2 suns.
Somebody was actually telling me it had at least 2 suns in there.
I don't know.
I don't remember that from The Force Awakens. Maybe they got it from expanded canon.
It's possible. I haven't actually looked up the planetary specs.
I haven't watched a lot of the expanded canon yet. Although I do want to. Like the I can't remember what it's called, but the new series that they did for like featured female members of the Star Wars cast. Oh, hey, I do actually want to watch those.
You have your phone. Let's look this up now. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Don't me.
So, no, I was reaching for it. I'm not you.
Oh.
Well, okay, I kind of am you, but
I gotta know. I got to know.
I think I just found our episode title. Are you me?
Yeah.
So I think we could just do a general search. Does Jakku have 2 suns? Do we care? No, not really, but oh wow, first thing came up. Does Jakku have 2 suns? Jakku. And the first thing that came up was Wikipedia.
Yay, Wikipedia. Your #1 source for Star Wars information.
Jakku was a remote desert planet located on the Jakku system, within the western reaches of the galaxy's inner rim. Though considered by many within the galaxy to be distant and relatively worthless, the planet became home to important events that would shape galactic history. In 5 ABY, Jakku was the site of the pivotal Battle of Jakku, which ended the Galactic Civil War in favor of the New Republic. A generation later, the planet was the home of Scavenger Ray, who became caught up in the events of the Cold War after helping the former First Order Stormtrooper Finn and the astromech BB-8. See description. No, an isolated planet located is... Jakku was once a verdant world with forests and water, but some past calamity turned it into a barren globe of scorched badlands and marching dunes. Still no mention of multiple suns in their entry. I have no idea.
Can I look?
Give me a second. I'm just going to check out another one. Jakku's sun. Here we go. Another Wikipedia entry specifically to Jakku's sun. It looks like it's only one, because it's a yellow-white star at the center of the Jakku system. It was located close enough to Jakku to create a harsh and hostile environment on the planet. And yep, only one.
Okay, it's
officially one, only one.
It's a monostar.
As the Highlanders once said, that can be only one.
It's a monosystem. I don't. If it, because Tatooine would be.
It can't have that epic moment with that epic John Williams score.
No. It's not a binary system, therefore does not have a binary. By the way,
speaking of, so like in this music, we're hearing a lot of really awesome adaptations of the John Williams score.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean they do what they.
Is it good enough?
It's good enough, I feel like.
All right.
I mean, obviously Shadows I think did it more, but that's obviously more advanced technology. Yeah. Though I never understood why Shadows did like the full compressed orchestrations where like Rogue Squadron went back to MIDIs, and I never understood that.
I've heard multiple reasons for this, one of which was that Factor 5 couldn't do it, like they didn't have the money to do it right off the bat, but then later on they did, but people liked the bit scores that they did, so they just stuck to them. But then again, I've also heard that yes, they did have the money because they got given a fairly big grant when they took on Rogue Squadron. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I've tried to look up numerous times, but Ever since Factor 5 went under, there's just not a whole lot known.
Thanks, EA.
Thanks, EA. Although I did find it funny. So a lot of people like to advertise this to me, and I'm just going to bring it up to you. So apparently I should give a crap about Battlefront 2, and one of the reasons I should is because they actually had a different team working on the Starfighter gameplay.
And I really
Because
don't
people
care.
remember, like, my biggest complaint was the Starfighter gameplay was crap in Battlefront 2015. But apparently it's better in this one. We'll see. We'll get to it, guys. It's gonna happen. And Andrea's already giving us that look of, why don't you guys just give them a chance? No.
They had their
No.
chance.
They've had their chance and a half.
2 years ago. but they
EA's
blew
had
it.
20 years to get their act together.
Oh.
Let's just be honest. They've had 20 plus years to get their act
Yeah,
together.
but I'm talking specifically with making a good Star Wars game.
Exactly. So we'll continue this conversation on in part 3.